Before we get into this video, if you do need Genshin help such as exploration, account fixing, me doing your Spiral Abyss, or just hanging out for fun, I do stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/Tunarri. So let's get into this video and I'll tell you more about Skirk. I've been playing for Skirk for around 1 week now, and so far she seems really fun, so let's break down what she does and how she was. So Skirk is a Corral Sword DPS that utilizes something much like Mawika, where she gains Serpent Subtlety to unleash a lot of burst damage, but also she does do a lot of normal attack damage as well. Right, so that's the one thing I like about her, and as a Corral Sword unit, she has access to many Corral supports and Hydra supports. And if you guys are wondering what she does, she is a freeze comp based character, and what freeze comp based characters do is that, of course, they freeze the enemies and do a bunch of damage without having to rely on getting hit or damage resistance and whatnot like that. So that's what she does. She does pair well with a lot of Hydra supports and Corral supports that we use and utilize, and we'll get over that in just a few minutes here. But yeah, so this is Skirk here. She seems pretty cool, and she does around a lot of damage depending on who you pair with. So if you're wondering like how she works, she's pretty easy to use. So let me go create you a team here that I utilize all the time for her. This is my friendship team, so like you don't have to use this all the time, but even though this team does work. So my go-to team is my usual team is just Skirk, Shenna, Furina, Escoffier. This team is like probably one of her best teammates in probably for years, until I don't know if they will release another character like a Escoffier but a Hydro version, but this will be her premium team for many years. So practically she is a cryo freeze DPS that utilizes a lot of Hydro and cryo units that apply freeze reactions. Okay, you need a lot of cryo reactions in order for her to work, and Hydro reactions, of course. So that's why Furina, Escoffier, and Shen is a buffer. She doesn't apply cryo as much, but she's more of a buffer, which is totally fine because Furina and Escoffier like legit carries the application for you. So Skirk utilizes those cryo applications and Hydro applications to create void rifts and do massive normal attack damage, much like skill, but normal attack speed damage and stuff like that. And then she utilizes her burst to dish out either huge burst damage or increase normal attack damage. So that's what she does mostly. We've done her in the Abyss before, and she tanks everything at C0. So I'll show you my build and show how she works and stuff like that, okay? So my build, I'm running around 1800 attack, and I have her at 62, 236 crit, and ER doesn't matter because she does not take energy recharge. So that's the good thing about her. I am running a Zorlite R1 and at C0, of course. Artifact sets, I am running Finale of the Deep Galleries. This is probably a really good set for her. No, this is most likely the best set for her. I've seen a lot of my viewers, they usually run Marshal Say, which is totally fine. Marshal Say or Blizzard Strayer are totally fine as well, especially if you're running Furina. Marshal Say is a really good artifact set if you already have a lot. I would use it, especially if you never grinded the Finale of the Deep Gallery set. I might as well just use Marshal Say with Furina, right? But if you're not using Furina and you only have Marshal Say, then I probably wouldn't use it. I'd probably either farm her new set, use Blizzard Strayer if you're a returning player. For swords though, I've seen a lot of players don't have a Zerlite, which is fine. Most of my viewers use either Mist Splitter, Haran is fine. I would say Mist Splitter is really good for her because she gets a lot of elemental burst damage from it and an elemental damage bonus, which is great. The higher refinement, the better. Haran is fine. I think the normal attack damage is kind of like iffy because she's based on skill, but the more people that use elemental skill damage, the more she gets an elemental damage bonus, which is fine too. Jade Cutter is good depending on HP. She gets a attack increase that is really good. Absolution is fine if you want to use this as a stat stick, but 4-star weapons, there are a ton you can use. Black Sword is fine. I think Black Sword is probably her best one because it gives like these damage here is really good. Normal charge damage is pretty nice. I haven't ascended mine, but Calamity of Eshu is really good. You definitely need a shield character, but this is really good, especially if you want to utilize Dahlia. Dahlia is one of her best teammates, so Calamity of Eshu with Dahlia is tremendously amazing. Finale of the Deep, of course, her theme, Finale of the Deep, really good. When you use Elements of Skill, which you use all the time, increase attack. That is probably the best thing you could do. Right, so I would advise that. 3-star weapons, she doesn't have any good ones. You can use Harbinger of Dawn, but you won't be able to use her with Furina, so That's the only downside of this weapon. Unless you have proper crit rate, then you don't have to worry about the crit rate passive, right? So that's good too. So if you can use that. But yeah, I would recommend, if you're free to play, craft the Finale of the Deep R5. This is really, really good for her. If you have the event, if you did the event, just use this. Just use your Dahlia. At the same time, if you don't have a Scoffier, this is absolutely really good. And it looks so pretty on her. Like, it's so good on her. So this is my build. I am running her team comps at C0. Farina is at C2 because, you know, I couldn't stand not playing her anymore at C0. So Farina's at C2. Of course, it does help her a bit. She does have alternatives. I've seen a lot of players use Yelan as well. Yelan is totally fine. I tested Yelan out. She does the exact same thing Shenhe does. Of course, you get more personal damage with Shenhe, but with Yelan, you get an even split because Escafe is able to buff Yelan as well, and Farina too. So like, you're getting both damage, which is on par with Shenhe buffing Skirk more. So like, it's the same thing. And Yelan, if you're running Fav Warbow gives more energy for Farina and Escoffier, and that means more ER, right? So like, that also is great for you to have your rotations up all the time, which I think is perfect as well. Shenhe with Fav Lance is fine, but Yelan has a higher chance of giving more energy, right? Because she's critting all the time, or critting more times than Shenhe does. If you don't have Farina, Farina is not needed at all. I would say then you need a different Hydro applicator. You need a bunch of Hydro application, right? Especially if you only play single Hydro. So the best option is none of these 5 stars. These 5 stars don't apply Hydro as much. Kokomi does, but you already have a sustain, which is a Scoffier, so like, there's no point of putting double healer. So I would best invest on using a Hydro character. Xingqiu is going to be her best 4-star Hydro applicator. He is the same thing that Yelan does, and even better, because his ER is quicker to get and easier to invest in. So Xingqiu is great as well. So let's say you do have Farina, you run Skirk with Farina, but you're missing a Scoffier, because I know a Scoffier just came out before Skirk, and you might have just saved up just for Skirk, or you just randomly pulled the Skirk and now you have to build it, right? And you don't have a Scoffier. You don't need a Scoffier. I think a Scoffier is a huge buffer for Skirk, like massively huge. However, there are alternatives. I've seen a lot of players play without Skirk and it's totally fine. I play Dahlia and he is fine. Where's my Dahlia? There he is. He doesn't have any blue indication, so I didn't know where he is. You can use Dahlia as a replacement for a sustain. His Hydro Shield is great. Really, really good, especially if the enemies destroy shields so easily. He's able to respawn your shield very quickly. He does increase attack speed, which Skirk utilized. Charlotte is really good on this team too. Charlotte is a decent crowd applicator because as long as you're holding skill, taking a picture with her skill, and it'll be able to apply cryo all the time, right? And she also heals as well. This is totally okay too because you're having Diona for the heals, Kaya for application, Xingqiu for Hydro application, and then Skirk for dishing out damage, right? This is really good for free-to-plays because you get everything easily and they're very low investment. Yeah, that's what I would recommend for team comps. If you guys have any more questions on this, let me know down in the comments. One of the questions I got asked is that is she really only used for freeze comps? Technically, no. The reason why she's used for freeze comps only is because of her passive. Her passive, rotation-wise, you need to run freeze, right? To make her dish out more damage, to have your consistent rotations, to get her burst up, gain void rifts, gain serpent subtleties, and stuff like that. I've seen a lot of players play Shanyan, right? They played Shanyan and they play her as a cryo plunge, which is kind of weird, but it does work. It does work. I've seen her been played in this type of team comp before. I've also seen a lot of players play a more of like a burst melt comp. They play her with Shilonin and like I think on top of Bennett. So like they play a burst melt comp, which I think is fine too in terms of if you want to do showcases or like content and stuff like that. But ideally, yes, if you're just trying to build Skirk and you want to build her efficiently, you don't care about one-time hit wonders or stuff like that, then just play your normal freeze comps. I think normal freeze comps are totally fine too, okay? So that's what I would recommend mostly. Also, look how pretty she looks. I love her purple design. It's so good. And her weapon, oh man, Her weapon fits her so well. So Skirk has many ways of playing her. She has technically 3, but I'll show you 2 ways to play with your Skirk. So one way to play with your Skirk is purely just skill normal attack damage, and the other way is throughout her burst rotations, right? Her burst rotations are really strong, but very quick. But her skill normal attack damage is long lasting, and if you have enough buffing on the background throughout her rotation, you should be dishing out a ton of damage. So we're gonna fight this Dorito here real quick. I'll show you both here. I don't have any energy for everyone else, so this is good. This is good. I'll just show you purely what she does. So first thing you want to do is apply a lot of Cryo Hydro here. You see the Void Rift appear right here, right? You want 3 on the field. You want 3. So when you have 3, you can hold skill and your Serpent Subtlety increase. Then you can burst and dish out so much damage. Y'all saw that? That's so much damage without any burst buffs at all. So that's what her burst does. You want to absorb all the Void Rifts in order to grab more Serpent Subtlety and increase her burst damage, which her burst damage does a ton of damage, and I think she makes it awesome. So that's what her burst does. You want a lot of Void Rifts on the field. Also, when you tap skill, you'll see 3 shards there on her stamina bar, like right next to it on the left side, but here you don't see it because we're in battle, right? And there's no Void Rifts on the field. So you'll be able to see how many Void Rifts you absorb depending on the shards that are on the left side. So I'll show you. Let me TP back out real quick and I'll show you what they look like. Let me go out. And also you can absorb more Serpent Subtlety off battle too if you just hold skill once in a while. So I'll be able to stack up more burst. Okay, so let's absorb, or let's create some Void Rifts first. And I'll show you what they look like. Okay, so see, I'll make one more. Okay, there's one more. So if you tap skill, see those shards there? Now it shows that there's 3 on the field. There's 3 on the field, right? So that means you'll be able to dish out damage once you absorb them. So I'll show you how it works here. So when you have 3 of the Void Rifts on the field, you can either hold charge or you could burst to make your skill last longer. So I'll show you the first method, which is the hold skill. Okay, we'll wait for at least 2 to pop up. Okay, so we hold skill, wait for the 3rd one to appear, and now we hold. Now the Serpent Subtlety lasts longer a little bit, and you get buffed cryo normal attack damage too. So that's what that does, right? Which is absolutely really good. And the team destroyed this super quickly too. So let's go back here real quick. So let's apply our freeze. Wait for the second one. Okay, now you go in. Go in, you can hold charge and then burst as well. This will make it last longer. You can also wait a few more minutes with your normal attack damage and then burst to make her stance longer too. So either way it works. I would recommend waiting a little longer, dish out a little bit more damage, and then you burst in, right, to make it last longer here. Especially if you have Farina and Escoffier, that their skill lasts very long and you can apply more freeze comps and more sub DPS damage on top. So when it comes down to talents, she's pretty much easy to understand. You don't need to increase her normal attack talent at all. Like this is not based on anything for her damage, especially if you go into your stance all the time. If you play plunge, it doesn't matter because her skill is literally the part of her kit. Like this is like 90% of her kit. It does apply plunge too. There's plunge here. All their hits come from this skill. Her burst damage is of course her burst. So if you want to do more burst damage, you use this, right? If you run only cryo and hydro characters on your team, you get an extra skill point for all of your characters. All of your characters will get the extra skill level. So let's answer one of the major questions. Do I regret pulling for Skirk? No, I do not regret pulling for Skirk. Mostly because I am an Ayaka main. So as an Ayaka main, I love playing freeze. Freeze comps are one of my favorite comps to exist. I practically just gave Ayaka's premium comp to Skirk. If you play freeze comps and you love your hydro and cryo characters, then Skirk is just amazing to have overall. So let's get down to the major question, and that is, was Skirk worth it? No, because Skirk is just another unit that just relies on another reaction. She's not very reliable when it comes down to flexibility at all, but in her own department, she does really, really well. If you already have a Escoffier, I would recommend getting Skirk. If you have Farina and Escoffier, Skirk is probably going to be a 95% you should grab. Where in terms of is she next to, so if you have Arlecchino, if you have Nuvolette or Clorand or Mawika, I think she is below all of these characters in terms of flexibility, of course. So my final verdict about Skirk is that she is just an amazing character. She does her job super well. She has so many ways to be played. I love doing her burst damage and dishing out with her normal attack damage. So I really, really, really recommend her when it comes down to having fun. Other than that though, she definitely is a skip character for a lot of you guys. Yeah, that is my final verdict. If you have any more questions, just let me know down in the comments, or join us on our Discord or on our live on Twitch as well. I do a lot of Genshin help, such as account fixing, doing your Spyro Abyss, exploration help. That is it for tonight's video. If you guys need any more questions, just let me know. Have a great night, have a great day, and I'll see you next time on another video. Bye everyone!
Obey! Cryo incarnate! Paradigm shift! A little of this boost! Here we go! Time to shine! Manifest! Do your master's bidding! Manifest into the form! Across the vast starlit ocean, behold! A little of this! My will embodied! At first, sleep! This one will sing for you! Transfiguration. Let the world collide! Goose on the loose! By ordinance divine! I never saw those out! Off to the freeze! At first, sleep! Cryo incarnate! Echoing song! Paradox! Adaptive frosting! Shit, unleash! Goose on the loose! Fearless! Into the form!